Hey.
Hey, greetings and salutations. What's good? What's good, We That Nation? What's good, Jamie? How you doing, Professor?
I'm doing all right. We got Diva. She getting her stuff together, trying to look the prettiest on the whole internet.
Yeah.
She must not have knew my beard was back. So I don't know. I don't know.
You want to be pretty too today.
What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm excited, man. There's a lot to talk about. We had a lot going on. Can't wait for Spider-Man to come out, man. I'm gonna watch Spider-Man. You know, I'm into that. You like Spider-Man?
I like it all right. I like it all right. You know, first of all, let me admit I'm a comic book nerd.
Okay.
So not reformed,
wait.
not in the past. I'm a comic book nerd. So I like stuff that wasn't quite as mainstream as Spider-Man. Because if you know the Marvel history, you know it was about the civil rights movement. Spoiler alert if you didn't know that. So I was into some other people. I didn't dislike Spider-Man, but he's not in my top 100. I would say.
Ooh, that don't sound like you. That kind of sound a little shade. A little bit of shade towards Spider-Man.
He's way above Batman. Batman is.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you could like Batman. It maybe
I've heard this.
Maybe if you're a rich guy already and you was like, "Hey, I love privilege. Let's do a hero whose superpower is privilege."
Yeah, I've heard this before.
Maybe that, but nah. But my daughter. It all depends on my daughter. My 16-year-old is not comic friendly at all. My 13-year-old is. So my 13-year-old say, "Let's go." We going. So, but if not, I catch it on
when it comes out on Disney Plus or whatever.
No, so Spider-Man. That's another part of the issue is that Spider-Man. There were certain Marvel franchises that wasn't a part of Marvel Universe. So that's why you don't see Silver Surfer, Galacticus, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. Somebody jump in if I'm forgetting somebody. But yeah. There's our superstar.
Hi.
So yeah, that's why certain one of those guys are not in the Marvel movies, and Spider-Man is one of those. Although they did lease him, that's how he got into that other movie. But
what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Spider-Man. Talking about the Spider-Man movie coming out, and I noticed we didn't get no comments. Jamesville gave us a shout out as soon as your face.
What's going on? Where's the test? Where's the test in the house?
Okay. Okay, so Spider-Man. When does it come out?
Comes out today, technically, but it's really coming out tomorrow. Yeah, you know how they do in cities like Atlanta, Chicago. It's really coming out tonight.
So you going there or you not going there?
I'm going to go when I can. I'm going to go sometime this weekend. I'm really into it. I find my comic book friends, there are two type of comic book friends.
Okay.
One that can't stand anything on the movies because they know too much about how it much.
Oh
yeah.
But that's not just comic book. That's people who read the book and they want to be like, here's the inaccuracy.
Right. The movie didn't show everything. If it did, it'd be 4 hours long. Shut up.
We just got out of a 2-hour movie. You thought they could put more in there?
I try to stay away from them. Man.
Okay.
I know that for me, I'm just looking for entertainment, man. I like Spider-Man. I like all of them. I'm into the Avengers, but I don't know too much about the storyline outside of the comic book. So I know that it is cool to have a couple guys around that kind of keep you like, hey, well, really what's happening is this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to take it too deep. But I got some friends that, man, they into it pretty serious.
Okay.
So what did y'all do? Hey, babe. What did y'all do this past weekend?
This past weekend? Oh, I hung out with my girlfriend Sunday. Saturday, I cleaned and just trying to get the house together because I have my annual ugly Christmas sweater party on this Saturday.
Oh, sookie now.
Yes.
Oh,
so I'm excited. So we have a good time, and this makes year number 10, which is the final year. This is the ugly Christmas sweater finale.
Why is the final year? Why?
Because it's time to do something different.
Oh.
All the things must come to an end. Otherwise, it gets watered down. I ain't trying to be like Fast and the Furious.
Oh.
You did 10 years, work. That sounds like Fast and
Furious. That was a shot.
Is it not like 40? It's like Fast 45 or something. What number are they on now?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, my daughter and my wife watch all of them.
My son.
I have seen pieces of them, but I don't know which ones I've seen or which ones I haven't seen.
Right. How they connect. How it makes sense.
I lost it after maybe the first or second one, and then now that's so long ago. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I always look forward to seeing the pictures from your ugly Christmas sweater.
Yes, it's gonna be fun. So next year I'm gonna start doing a holiday gala.
Get some clothes on.
Yeah, make somebody put some clothes on, put on some perfume and a little soap and water.
All right.
Wait, so you saying at the ugly sweater party nobody have taken a shower? Is that
they do? But you know when you're doing an ugly Christmas sweater party.
Hey, Miss Jefferson, okay, Jamia, Auntie, she just said y'all don't take a bath before the ugly sweater Christmas party. And that's why
no. That is not what I said.
And hopefully,
that's not what I said. What I said
to make y'all taking a bath, then y'all got to do a gala. I get it. I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how rumors get started.
One time Joe came over here without taking a bath. That's my youngest brother, and so we went to a gala.
Why you putting that man business on the street?
That is not what I meant.
Well, he don't watch the show enough, so that's how
I give up.
Under the bus.
Yeah. Anyway,
so I watched the Navy defeat the Army in a huge upset. So all my Navy Marine Corps friends that are watching the show or who will watch the show, because we were the underdogs. We were a little bit of a losing streak, but that's all right. We back now. We got this bragging rights and that kind of stuff. And then my other baby is an almost Christmas baby. So her birthday is the 23rd. So it's a lot of stuff going on with her birthday this weekend.
Okay.
Some of which I am involved with and some of which I'm not involved with or invited to. Well, I guess I am involved in the financial.
Yeah,
but they have their tradition. They do all this stuff, and then so that's gonna be enjoyable for them, and that's what I got going on coming up on this weekend. Where are we on our shopping?
I am 90% done on my shopping. Yeah, probably 95%. So my problem, I'm sure you guys probably don't have this issue. My problem is that when I go Christmas shopping, something like happens, right? And then I end up leaving the store with a lot of stuff for me.
Interesting. Well,
wait. Are either one of y'all surprised that that's what she just said?
Not at all. But I do have to admit, I do find myself when I'm shopping, 2 for them, 1 for me. 2. So, but it's different now. I can say because when we were younger, it was an element of surprise because we would be like, I hope I get a pony and an elephant and 7 racetracks.
Right.
And you would be thinking, can I get at least 1 shirt for school? So, but now they'd be like, here's the specific with the website link. I want these shoes. I want these collector dunks. So I think I've been pretty successful. So
Exactly.
I feel good. I'm waiting for a couple of them to come in. They wanted those little tail fire bags. Those are not going to make it for Christmas.
I wanted one of those too.
You know, the ones that look the tail fire / Uggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that may be a Martin Luther King birthday.
That's how long it's gonna take to get here.
Well, you know, their stuff is Their stuff was like that before the national supply chain shut down. So you'd be just, I hope I can buy this product. But you know, they'll be all right. They'll have before their friends. Pow!
She. All right, Carter, what about you? You done? You still shopping? What's up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is so bah humbug for me because I have it in for Christmas, and I'm going to tell you why. By the time I was 6 years old, I knew for sure that there could not be a Santa Claus. My brother can co-sign this. I asked my mama, I said, Mama, we don't have no chimney. How does Santa Claus get in the house? And she says, well, baby, we leave the door open for him. Woo! I said, in this neighborhood? I couldn't believe it. And then I started thinking more at my 6, 7-year-old self. I said, wait a second. He got all these presents coming in this neighborhood. Don't nobody rob Santa? You know what I'm saying? This is like...
Wait, you was living in the deep suburbs of Gwinnett County.
No, man. I was not. My brother would co-sign when we was living. We did not grow up in no deep suburbs. I don't know where you keep getting that narrative from, but where we from, you can't go. He'll tell you. Shoot. Long story short, we learned quickly, like, I can't be a Santa. And then that was the first part of it. The second part was, okay, I'll just roll with the story. Mm-hmm. You know, okay, mom and daddy Santa, but whatever. And I would ask stuff for Christmas, and the things I would ask for, like I'd ask for Transformers. Now, if you guys remember in the 90s, Transformers was a big thing. I'd always get the cheap imitation, whatever it is I asked for. So
wait, you was a grown man asking for Transformers? I know how old you are.
This is in the 80s.
You said 90s. So
whatever.
I was like, wow, this is
90s,
I can't blame your parents. I'd be like, you better transform your tail into this
Can I finish the story? You want me to put it back camera on you? All right, my point is, so when I was like, I guess 10, 11, 12, I would ask for stuff, and mom and they would never give me what I wanted. It'd always be a cheap imitation of. It'd be like a fake Transformer, like a go-by. Come on, man. This is not
it was some cheaper options than GoBots now.
Oh, listen, one year it was like Apple Man. Come on, man.
You'd be like, it's transforming. No, the arm broke off. The arm just broke off.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. Bah humbug.
Well, let's jump in this sports discussion because we got a lot to talk about. First, let's talk about we talked about Georgia. The championship, we still don't know if it's going to be Stetson Bennett starting or not. I think I'm not I'm going to shut my mouth after last time. We should be all right against Michigan, but we can't be all right against Alabama again.
I think we're getting some strong hints that they might be leading towards JT Daniels.
Well, I hope they lean all the way that way.
I mean, if we want to have a shot against some other boys, we better lean all the way the other way because we can't beat at our best. We cannot beat Alabama.
Nah. Then you have the Hawks. They had an up and down week. They're going through an up and down period. They're missing 3 starters.
That's what that is.
Trey is playing incredible.
Yep.
Trey is playing incredible. The only thing is my people are just like, it's not the same without Ryan Cameron down there at the game.
Listen to me. That's becoming a thing.
It is
I've
becoming
had people
a thing.
I'm not down there. I've got people inboxing me saying we need to talk about this. There are people who have some feelings about Ryan Cameron not being there. It's been a while now.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that they went with the station that broadcasts the game. Ryan Cameron is no longer in that family.
Right.
So Big Tigger is. And again, this is not anti-Big Tigger.
No.
But Ryan Cameron is Atlanta born, Atlanta bred, and he knows the sport enough. And I think that's kind of the difference that people are saying, and you can hear on TV is Ryan, because he's a real Hawks fan, he knows the sport. He's like, let's go on and get the fans go. The fans looking restless. The guys look like they need some energy boost. Big Tigger is a hip hop guy. And if it was a hip hop contest, I bet he would know, when to kick in. But with the sports, I'm just not seeing it. So
he's not freestyling.
No.
Keep a look out there. We still haven't had any major trades, but we have several teams that kind of are in that area where they're supposed to be good. Milwaukee has not played consistently, and it might be Kyrie has been sending out hints on Instagram that he might be coming back, him lacing up his shoes and that kind of stuff. And they're talking about if there's a plant-based vaccine, he might play or whatever. But I think if Kyrie comes back, that is one of the first dominoes to fall, because some of the people are like, well, if Kyrie ain't gonna come back, we might be all right. If Kyrie come back, then I think Milwaukee might have to look at their team. The Hawks definitely going to have to look at their team. So, and then even the effects over to the Lakers and Phoenix and some of those teams. Golden State with Clay coming back might feel like we good, but the other teams might feel like, do we have enough to beat Brooklyn with Kyrie? So stand by for that. We still early in the season, nothing to get into a panic about, but I do want to see some more consistency.
Well, yeah, but we gonna have a season, man. We gonna have a season because as of right now, you mentioned the Lakers. The Lakers supposed to play the Bulls in a couple games, and it's looking like it's gonna be a 3-on-3 right now. I don't know I think they could like 10 players gone from the Bulls, and they announced 2 more gone for the Lakers today. And I tell you what, that little celebration they did last night for winning against Dallas without Luka doesn't look nearly as good with all them guys hugging up on each other and jumping up and down in that victory, because it's like, 2 of them jokers we know had COVID or had COVID protocol. That don't look good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's funny when we say, this variant. By the time we figure out a variant, it's already here. Yep. And the Omicron variant, there's a high vaccination and health rate, obviously, for professional athletes. And so we're not seeing people getting sick. But the Omicron variant is much easier to pass. And so even some of the stuff that I'm used to doing, because I'm going to be back on the road in January. Then I'm going to be back on the road in February. Then I got like 3 trips in March. So some of the stuff that I'm like, I gotten comfortable, like, I just got my mask and blah, 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 blah. And the booster is making me look at a little different, that right now you're going to get it. It feels like,
That's
because of things. So, the better prepared you can are health-wise or what have you. What I will say to you, Ricardo, we go have a season. Not whether we should or not. It ain't gonna happen again. We're not gonna shut down anything, and we're definitely not gonna shut down football or basketball. There are gonna be some game cancellations here and there if both teams happen to do it. But the NFL showed you what they're gonna do last year when they had a wide receiver playing quarterback. So Cleveland is being devastated, and they wish their game could get canceled. I'm like, Denver would lodge a protest immediately. So they just.
I think Washington's in trouble too. They had about 8 to 10 players in COVID protocol as well. The Reds, whoever they are, Washington football team.
Yeah, but the other thing about it is, for people who are vaccinated or not, is that what you're seeing is quicker negatives. So there is some hope that some of the people who are out will be back. The only thing is, the difference between the NFL and the NBA is they play almost every night. And so that's where, so it's like, you might go out on Monday and be back Saturday. You might have dropped 3 games in the standings in that time. So That is going to be interesting to watch.
Yep.
And then speaking of the Cleveland Browns, the Falcons won. They're in the playoff race. Yes, ma'am.
Can I just say, I would like to make a public service announcement. Ricardo, why are you laughing?
Because I know
I'm trying to be serious.
Trying to be spiritual right now. You
I would like to make a public service announcement to all of my my spiritual warriors, my brujas, and anyone else who has connection to the spiritual realm. Can we schedule a date to meet down at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium so that we can cleanse the stadium of any evil? Because apparently no one can win inside the stadium. It has to be done outside the walls of the Mercedes-Benz. So can we get together and sage the whole stadium?
Maybe bring Dansby in there. Maybe because remember when the Braves were going bad and Dansby, who definitely honorary on the picnic list, all the way.
Dansby's honorary. Jock Peterson get to bring a dish. You see him?
But Dansby, if Jock Peterson get to bring a dish, Dansby on the grill. Dansby for real. But we need somebody to sage it because that's we would be if we had beat Washington. We would be in control in this wild card, and it would be more of a realistic thing. But because we lost to Washington, we have to finish ahead of Washington. It's not like a situation where we can finish tied up with Washington. So, and we lost that game at home on as close to a Hail Mary that you're going to get from that close in. He just threw that ball up, and we just weren't aware. But what I can say is, win or lose.
Well, yeah, I think he fell for it. I think
he in meaningful games because we had lost that for a minute. Mm-hmm. We had lost. We weren't playing meaningful games at this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how do you guys feel about where we're at now? Because the schedule, with the way the schedule's looking, looks like we got a chance to really finish out and get in the playoffs. Actually, which
actually, the problem is we don't. We got to play two. So we're 6 and 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we still got to play Buffalo.
Yeah,
but we play New Orleans. We play Carolina again.
We don't play Carolina again.
We don't play them.
We already played them twice.
We split with them.
We don't play Tampa again.
We don't play Tampa again. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we got a couple of toughies. And so we're kind of in a situation that we really need to. We got Detroit, right? So we can't overlook them, but we got to win that game, right? So we're down to the point where if we can beat San Francisco, that puts us in a very advantageous position, right? Mm-hmm. Because if we beat San Francisco, we could afford to lose the Bills game.
Mm-hmm. Is that an away game?
The San Francisco game is an away game. The
we should be good.
Lions game is in Mercedes, unfortunately.
Well, wait a second now. When do we play the Bills? Because if we play them week 17,
we played them. Well, that's why we should have been cheering for them to win those other games. Mm-hmm. We played them week 16.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So they're not going to be in a position to not be playing.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots are doing the Patriot thing. Yep. And that race is going to be tight for them over there because they've had a little tough run, and it's so many good teams over in the AFC. They could be out of the playoffs. That game could be. They could be playing for the playoffs when they play us. So we're playing in Buffalo, but it's 1:00, so it can only be so cold. Mm-hmm. But it's just fun to be playing games that matter. Mm-hmm. We haven't played any games that matter in about 3 years, and I like how they're churning the bottom of that roster. They're looking for some uncovered gems, and Arthur Smith is coaching his ass off. We just got to figure out how we're going to do better at home. And I think that's just, we just got to be a better team, to be honest. We play better teams at home than we played on the road. So look out for that. And then around the NFL, the Jags finally fired Urban Meyer. So I don't know who wins our bet at the beginning of the season, because neither one of us thought he would make it past this season. But did we say it'd be fired in the season? I got to go back and look at tape.
I know for myself, I said in the private chat with you, that I thought he would make it to the end of the season. So he didn't.
What did I say? What did I say?
I don't remember. I don't remember what you said, but I know I looked it up. I said, man, I thought he would at least make it to the end of the season, but he's going around kicking kickers, man.
Hey, man, that dude is wild, but that's what happens. When they talk about a college coach, it's not because the schemes are so advanced. It's the control is so less.
Yeah, that's part of it, but,
And I think,
man, that guy's a jerk, man.
Yeah, we knew that already, but there's other winning coaches in the NFL that are jerks. And I think what happens is the Bill Belichick effects makes loser coaches think that they can do Bill Belichick type things, but what they think is Bill Belichick type things, you never heard about Bill Belichick kicking a player. You never seen Bill Belichick. You never worry about Bill Belichick staying behind to hang with his lady, his side chick, after a loss. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that's like, don't get questioned on the college level. We would have never known about this on the college level, right? But then when this stuff started coming out, Urban Meyer didn't know how to handle it. He was like, we need to fire whoever's leaking this.
I tell you what, I don't know about that. I'm going to tell you why. I kind of, the one thing now that I'm looking back on things, it feels like that he was done probably about a month and a half ago. And he was kind of looking for a reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, this is too much. I got my check. And from my understanding, it's going to cost them a lot of money to let this man go, So I saw, before the kicking incident, I saw him shake hands with the guy who served under him when they played against Tennessee. I can't remember the name of Tennessee.
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, who actually served under him at Ohio State. Yeah. And it could have been less of a cordial greeting. I just was like, man, be an adult. This man served up under you at Ohio State, made you who you were as a coach, and that you give him a tarse, whatever. After
that was all over the interwebs.
Which kind of goes to the other thing I was going to say. See, the one thing about, it's like this in college, but ridiculously so in the pros. A good head coach knows that you got to win the media. You got to win the media. You got to play that media game. You can't have. See, Bill Belichick knows that he's so good at that other thing, he don't have to do the media thing. But for most adult, regular people, regular coaches, they know that on some level, you have to have some beat writers in your pocket. You have to have some guys on your side, because once they don't like you, that narrative will switch. And we're going to talk a little bit about narratives and media when we talk about some things that's going on in college right now. But I'm telling you, it's huge. It's imperative. And he knows that. He wanted to go.
Yeah. So transitioning to that college, Diva, how, as a guy who's not a recruiting nerd like Ricardo, how did it impact you when you heard that the number 1 or number 2 recruit in the whole nation was going to a HBCU?
So, I mean, are you asking me how I feel about it?
Or how did it? What was your take on it? What did it look like to you?
My take on it is it's real cutthroat and simple. The Matrix is breaking down in front of their faces, and they're freaking out.
All right.
Oh, young lady, every once in a while, I'm telling you, that's all right.
It was totally unexpected. When I say I take my hat off and I salute that young man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
And it is my hope that he has started a domino effect or snowball effect, however you want to look at it. I'm just hoping that he has set an example and set the precedence of, we all we got.
I I've actually wrestled with this for a while about one thing I know about the NFL, just like the NBA and Major League Baseball. If you're good, they're gonna find you. Now the NFL that I grew up with when I was a kid, a lot of guys, man, they were talking about it on a show on, one of the Fox affiliates, Undisputed. I don't know if we should be saying names or whatever, but and Shannon was talking about he went to Savannah State. And there's a lot of guys I grew up watching that. I remember Jackson State, man, my favorite football player all time was Walter Payton growing up. You could tell me that Walter Payton was the greatest running back of all time. Man, I loved him. He went to Jackson State. Jerry Rice went to HBCU. Ed Too Tall Jones.
Steve McNair, Michael Strahan. It's really a recency effect that we forgot about HBCUs.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so, it's amazing because I was talking to my Bama fans, and they're, like the teams like Georgia and Alabama and Texas A&M, you don't see them, kind of like, oh, that's terrible. But you do see this negative effect, right?
Florida State.
And we got to be honest, and we got to call a spade, right? The top players don't go to the school that they're supposed to go to all the time. Bama lost 2 guys to Texas A&M. Texas A&M lost 2 guys to Georgia. Georgia lost 2 guys to Alabama. And strangely, I didn't see any fans attacking them or their intelligence. So, Ricardo, is this vitriol? What is it about?
Well, you're putting it on me, huh? I wanted to actually go back a little bit, talk about the young man. The tape I've seen of this young man, he is the real deal.
Hold on. Time out, Ricardo. Let me tell you. We keep it real on this show, and
I'm gonna keep it real.
No, but what I should have done was post the stuff that you were saying before any of this happened. I just wanted to quantify that Ricardo's evaluation. He said that this was the best high school player he's seen since Champ Bailey.
Yeah,
and if you know Champ Bailey, Hall of Famer Champ Bailey, it's either Herschel or Champ Bailey as the best athlete to ever come out of Georgia, and it's very close. And so this is what Ricardo was saying to me before. So this is not amended. This is not new. This is not because he's in the news. Ricardo always evaluated this guy as the best. He said he is the best receiver in this class, and he's the best cornerback in this class.
Which is crazy. You're going to listen. There's a big difference between track speed and football speed, and that's the first thing that's going to pop off the screen. Even if you don't understand nuances of football and whatnot, his speed is just different. He's just one of those different guys. And he's
for me, here. So Ricardo forced me to go watch his tape. Right? There's a lot of fast guys. Well, not a lot. There's a handful of fast guys on every field. Arian Smith would probably beat him on a track. But there's another element to I can run fast, but then I'm also smooth. I can get in and out. I can dip in and out. I'm quick and
agile.
I'm fast and I'm agile.
Yeah.
And it's rare, it's almost like football ballet when you see it come together. And I have to say, it's not just that he's the best player this year like the best player last year was. He's the best player in several years. Let's make sure that's clear. That he's a generational player because he's as quick as a Hunter Renfro type guy. And then, hey, mama.
Mama.
He's as smooth. So that's. I just wanted to say this, and all this is because what Ricardo told me 2 months ago.
Yeah, and I wanted to start there just because there's this narrative like don't let the media try to downplay who this kid is. And if you saw the letter that he wrote on Twitter talking about why he chose Jackson State, I mean, I wasn't, as a Georgia fan, wasn't crazy about the hat tossing, but he's a child. He's a kid. Good kid, super smart, went to a really good school. If you're from the North Atlanta area, you know all about Collins Hill. Great football program.
That's the school that Maya Moore went to.
Yep.
Some other people went there too.
Yep. Good school. You're doing well.
All the other Guanetians like Ricardo, go ahead and shout out them.
I don't know if I'm a Guanetian officially, but yeah. But anyway, my point is he is a good kid. Now, the truth is he's not really from Atlanta. The reason why he was so adamant about, first of all, he's a Deion fan, but he's actually from Florida. He's actually from Florida. You know, Gwinnett is more of a transient community. So most of the people that live out in that
Atlanta.
side,
Hold on, put an asterisk. Atlanta.
Yeah, they're not really.
Atlanta.
It is what it is. You know, most of the people who live anyway, he's from Florida. But this kid is the real deal. So when you hear these lazy narratives that come out later and it's about, well, maybe he didn't feel like he could step up to the pressure. No, it's not that. No. Number one. Number two, Deion knew he had this kid. I had heard the rumor, but I've never even shared it because I even said I can't see him going to I just can't see it. Just at the end of the day, I didn't understand. You know how I understood some things about the NILs. We could have a conversation about that, but I know that Jackson State ain't got no money, so I was like, I just didn't see it. But you know, man. First of all, I will say this, because I used to go to Hopewell Baptist Church. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's in Norcross. And Deion used to go there. So I'd see Deion all the time. And I'm going to tell you one thing about recruiting. If you get that man in your living room, it's going to be hard to say no. He is probably one of the most charismatic people I've ever seen easily. And I've been around the block a few times. I know some people. And he's been like that. Goodness, this 2021. This is in the 90s. So, and this is early in this year. I grew up going to Hopewell. I went to Hopewell. If we weren't going to our home church over in Cascade in the West End, we would go to Hopewell over in Norcross. Yeah. Anyway, long story short. Yeah, I don't know if you know. My mom's a minister.
I'm just messing with you, Ricardo.
I know.
We know.
Anyway, long story short, this kid's a good kid. It's a situation where Deion knew what he was doing. And the truth is, man, Jackson State ain't nothing to sneeze at. They're up here. They're in Atlanta right now, I believe, getting ready for a game versus South Carolina State. Look at Celebration Bowl. Yeah, looks like it's a big deal. They're 11-1.
My daughter is going with her aunts. Her favorite cousin, or should I say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what about the other cousins? Her favorite cousin goes to Jackson State, and she went down there. She flew by herself as a 16-year-old and went down. Her cousin picked her up. She went to JSU homecoming. My pockets was in a panic, right? And then this is funny. So she went down there that week, and then I went to Chicago that next week. And I didn't see this in Atlanta, but it was like in Chicago, because you know Chicago is big Mississippi. For people who don't know that,
North Mississippi.
And so it was like Jackson State, only $500 per semester for out-of-state fees, and I was like, so as much as I want my daughter to go to school from home in my office, Jackson State wouldn't be a bad place to go. And I already have my cousin. I have two cousins that graduated. I don't want to disinclude anybody. 3 cousins that graduated from Jackson State. Another cousin who teaches at Jackson State, and another. So Jackson State is in our family's blood.
Right.
Okay. Well, anyway,
I saw that poster. I was like, "Go right ahead, go right ahead, baby."
Well, anyway, I shared that to say that, hey, look, Deion's doing some things. They're 11-1.
Yes, Deion.
They have NFL coaches on their staff.
Right.
They do. Yeah, the Celebration Bowl is sold out.
Yeah,
so
you can't get
all this stuff that you're saying that the outside world is saying couldn't happen, it's already happening.
Yeah.
So that's where the panic is going in.
Yeah.
So
and Deion Sanders works with Barstool. So he has a relationship with Barstool. As a matter of fact, him and the young man will be doing a feature show, TV show, some type of reality show being recorded next season. So he's on to something. And I'm hearing people saying that this is it or this is just a one-time thing. I don't think so. Now, I'm not saying that I don't know what any of the other HBCUs can do, but I have a healthy understanding of what Deion can do. The one thing that I caveat for me is, will Jackson State be able to keep him? Because I already know that Texas Tech, I believe, they had some overtures towards him last year, a couple months ago, and he turned them down. And I know that Florida State's got to be looking at him like, man, what are we doing? Why didn't we just hire this guy in the first place? Because I don't know if there's a better recruiter or at least a hotter recruiter in the country. He got the #1 high school football player in the country to go to Jackson State, which is still blows my mind. And he's going to do well. You'll see he's going to do well.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate in this argument because I'm going to say, well, he only went there because the NIL that Deion was able to hook him up with from Barstool. What's your response?
No. First of all, if I want to be a defensive back, I got an idea. If I want to play defensive back, and I know that where the most money is in the NFL is on the defensive end, because I'm not going to be able to play both ways in the NFL, as good as athlete as I am. Why don't I get tutelage under the best defensive back and record in NFL history?
So wait a minute, Ricardo. So you're saying, because I was trying to look up all this vitriol towards NIL last year.
Well,
something must be wrong with my internet. Something is seriously wrong with my internet because I didn't hear any words, because there was a lot of NILs given out last year, particularly to the Heisman winning quarterback at Alabama, right? And so it's just a part of the game. That's what I heard last year. But now I'm hearing it like Deion is paying them in cocaine or dead seals, baby seals. Like it's almost like the NILs have been in existence, and a lot of people signed with NILs as soon as their recruiting was over. And I didn't hear this vitriol. I think one of the things that and this quote gets attributed to Gandhi incorrectly, and we're not even going to get all deep into that. But what I will say is, the gist of the quote is, all it takes for evil. It's actually a Bible verse that says almost the same thing, and I'm like, why do they keep saying Gandhi said it and it's a Bible? Whatever. But the point is, for evil to prevail, all it takes is for good people to say nothing. We had recruiting, and I want to hear what you got to say about recruiting. But we had recruiting last year and the year before and the year before. But it wasn't until a young man chose a HBCU that this level of vitriol was leveled at the man, Deion Sanders, Jackson State, and HBCUs in general. So I'm here to say, whether you're a fan of our show or whether you hate our show, we're going to call you out. All we got to do is look back at what you said last recruiting season, and it was nothing. Because everybody's team, there's nobody's team that when they say Auburn is recruiting these 20 guys, Auburn went 20 or 20 on these guys. No team, not even Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, USC. Nobody goes 100%. So that means somebody that you thought you were getting always went somewhere else.
Right.
See this, and like going back to the circle of life, back to Diva's original thing. I feel like I don't know what's going to happen, but I also know they don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so for years and years, we've had this machine that has been fueled by people that look like us, right? And now all of a sudden, they don't know if the fuel is going to start going to another machine. And so it's not just about Jackson State. It's not just about this young man. It's not even about Deion. It's what if they stop falling for this? Because what we're selling is, you got to come here. There's not like the NBA where you can go to G League, you can go play overseas. There's about 4 different things you can do. Not all of them work, but there's about 4 different things that you can do to make your way to the NBA.
Yep.
There's only one way to get into the NFL, and that's play college football. There's so few Canadian football players that make it to the NFL that didn't play college football, because there's always, and I wish Adam was on here, there's maybe 3 or 4 out of all thousands of NFL players that went to college in Canada. It's just a set up farm system. So that's what they're selling. And if there's an alternative way to do it, that's where the panic comes, because it's like, if all, it's not about what happened with that one player. If all the players, all the best players at their position in the top 300, because you only get 25 recruits, so just the best players at their positions went to HBCUs or went to an HBCU, it would be game changing, because
absolutely.
I agree with Davis. How do you pronounce your name, brother?
Davis.
They're afraid of Davis. They're afraid of the.
How many times I got to tell you, Davis?
They're afraid of the potential that this one HBCU recruitment can do. I think there is some fear. I think
absolutely.
I think even back in the day, I grew up hating the University of Miami. I was a kid. I didn't know why I hated them. I guess maybe whatever I was watching or paying attention to taught me to hate the University of Miami. And I'll never forget this. They showed a ESPN 30 for 30 on a University of Miami football team at the 80s. And I loved it. It was my favorite documentary on any sport until the Jordan one last year. I just thought it was genius. I thought I looked at them totally different. I had a newfound respect to them to this day. I actually really respect the program. But even then, they hated on Miami, and Miami is not a black institution, So they were hating on Miami because this school in South Florida was able to get these kids that they weren't supposed to be getting. These kids supposed to be going to Penn State, to Alabama, to Georgia, and whoever else, these blue buds. Well, how much more so now? Now you got to worry about a school that has, your budget is $155 million. They're in whereas Jackson State's whole athletic budget is $8 million. And now you got to worry about them because the NIL has actually made even the playing field some. And they didn't see that coming. And they don't like that. And I think they have a real problem.
Yeah.
So
the power is shifting, and they can see it, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and what bothered me yesterday, probably more than anything else, I saw it on the recruit. You guys know me. I watched everything I could on recruiting and whatnot, just to kind of catch up and see what it was. And they talked more about the concerns with the NIL and the concerns with the transfer portal. See, that people don't like when power, even, what's funny about when power shifts? Even the people on the bottom ain't crazy about it because they don't know. Oh, it's scary.
It's scary.
There's nobody who supports billionaires more than people who are not making a living wage.
Yeah.
So, just shifting back to recruiting. You talk about the transport portal, combining all that. Who are your winners and losers from yesterday? Start off with your winners. You follow recruiting.
Yeah. Well, the transport portal, that's a different, because that's still happening. So we probably have to revisit this on the next show because
we will continue.
Alabama did really well. They was able to get the Eli Ricks from LSU. Since we're, I'm an inside guy, I guess I know some things. Eli Ricks, he's super talented, 5-star from the state of Louisiana, but he's kind of got some stuff going. So we'll see how that works out at the end of the day. But as far as on the football field, he's supremely talented. Sometimes you hear some of this stuff, and it could just be sour apples. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Burrell, he just made Texas A&M cleaned up. They did a really good job. Now, one thing that a lot of people didn't see this coming with Texas A&M, but I want to explain something to our listening audience real quick. When it comes to recruiting, first of all, Jimbo Fisher has always been one of the best in the business when it comes to recruiting. The only reason he didn't get some of the guys at Florida State towards the end is because Florida State don't got that kind of money. They don't have that kind of money, not like Texas A&M. Texas A&M has old school oil money. That's a different kind of money. It's a different kind of money. And so with the NIL agreements out, they are, and with Jimbo Fisher leading the charge, and it being in the state of Texas and being an SEC, man, you should have seen this coming. They have right now, I would say.
There was something else that Texas A&M did that impacted Georgia that really, really even took them over the top with their
getting James Coley, of course. You talking about getting James Coley from a?
No, I'm talking about getting Nick Williams, who played defensive back at Georgia.
Yeah, well, I would say James Coley and Nick Williams, because what that did was. Now here's the thing with that. They did get a cornerback from Georgia, MGK, but here's the thing with that. We kind of. What happened was with Killebrew was we basically told him that he can't enroll early, and so that is the reason why he ends up transferring to Texas A&M. The other kid, Deion Smoke Bowie, kind of same thing with him. We wanted him to come back he wanted to come back to Georgia, but we wanted him as a wide receiver, and he wanted to stay as a safety. Well, we already got two safeties. We got two of the three best safeties in the country. And Malachi Starks, and I can't remember, the name escapes me for the second one, but we have two of the three best safeties in the country. So this kid decided to go back to Texas A&M, which is conveniently also why we weren't able to get Kamari Wilson. Is Kamari Wilson, who's actually the third best of the top three safeties in the country. Well, with Florida, he saw an opportunity to get playing time early, and he's like, well, why would I come to Georgia and sit for a couple years? Which is the same thing with the kid from EGK, but. Yeah, you're right. Nick Williams and James Coley have done a remarkable job. They're talented men. Those are also two young men that if they get in your living room, they're going to be able to do some convincing. James Coley has a lot of relationships still in the South Florida area, and Nick Williams is probably one of the brightest plugs that we had in Georgia history. He's a good one. He's going to be He's doing
okay, so we talked about the winners. I would add and just one comment here because I know. People's eyes gloss over sometimes when we talk about recruiting, but those same people,
what's up, Dale?
But those same people are like, I love the draft. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe you'll like it. This is the draft for college. Like when you're looking on the field in 2 years, next year, and 3 years, and you're like, man, this guy is good. He had to be recruited. So I would add to the winners USC because they made a great hire, and with Dan Lanning going over to Oregon, USC is positioned to be dominant. Not knocking Dan or whatever, but USC is positioned to be dominant. So that I give them one of my winners. In addition to the guys you mentioned, losers. Who were some of the losers yesterday?
Not looking good over at Clemson, and here's what's part of the reason, most of the reason why. It's because, man, it's hard to replace that many coaches. You lost your offense.
Not just that, yeah.
You lost your defense coordinator. You probably didn't handle some of these things well as far as what's going on. You know, a lot of times when you hear
a lot of the things that have happened since these last 3 years.
Yeah,
the last 3 years, if you wanted to teach a course on how not to handle Black Lives Matters, how not to handle player empowerment, how not to handle, then Dabo, you would just use videos of what Dabo said and say, don't do any of this.
Exactly, that's partly true. The other thing was Clemson recruits a little different than Alabama and Georgia. What Georgia does is we see somebody we like, Alabama, they see somebody they like, and they go full court press for that person. But knowing in the back of their mind, like say it's a running back, you will have to compete with this other guy that we're competing with too. Whereas Clemson does something that's a little unique, and Georgia Tech used to do the same thing. They say, hey, we pick this kid up that we like as a freshman and sophomore. We give him a scholarship, and you say, as long as you don't go after anybody else, you keep this scholarship. We won't go for anybody else in your position. You know what I'm saying? And that has worked for the most part. But what the problem is with those coaches gone, a lot of these kids, they don't go just for the schools, as you know, they go for the relationships.
Right.
So if Tony Elliott's not there, and if Venables is not there, well, why am I going to Clemson? So.
And they lost a lot of guys in the transfer portals as well. Any other losers stick out in your mind?
Well, the one in Fort Payne is probably the big one. I think what it is man, like I said, I was shocked. I don't shock easy, but I got to admit, I was pretty surprised to see that the kid did not choose Florida State. It's not that I was surprised. To be honest with you, I think I kind of hinted to me a while back. I said, I'm hearing things. I could see him going to Georgia, but I did not see him going to Florida State. I felt like I didn't see him going to Jackson State. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what. Long story short, it's not just that they lost this kid. Florida State might be in some trouble. They definitely took a hit, and it's just a lot going on. And I think they'll be bounced back. I think if the administration in Nebraska has patience, this is actually a good coach. But the problem is just
So I would add a loss to Ole Miss, right?
Ooh.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, so Lane Kiffin was hoping to get another job that he didn't get.
Ooh.
And so that affected his recruiting. And it's not as easy. He's going to have to out-coach the other guys in the West as long as he's there at Ole Miss. They are never going to get the guys that Bama and LSU and now Texas A&M is going to get. And then he didn't do well in the transfer portal because his quarterback is out of there. So I would put him on the loser list, the Ole Miss on the loser list, even though I like him as a coach.
Yeah, see, he's such a good offensive coach. This is why I was saying it's kind of early, because what's happening is what I feel like Lane is going to get his, because, man, it's going to be hard for a wide receiver or a quarterback to turn down Lane Kiffin, because it's like, this guy can give me the lead. There's probably not 3 offensive coordinators in the country that can that's better in what Lane does in terms of offense. So I think he'll be fine. It's still early, but man, it was a very, very wild signing day yesterday. It's fun things. What's up, Country Rose? What's up, Casey? What's up, brother? How you doing? Anyway, I think that I don't know if Jimmy can hear me, but I think that we're kind of. You can hear me? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to have to wrap up because it's getting about that time, guys.
Yeah.
So I do want to thank the professor, the beautiful boss diva, and we that nation. We love y'all. We're
grateful. Thank you guys for following us. Like and subscribe. Get us to your friends and family, please.
That's right.
Yes, this is our 34th episode. We couldn't do it without you guys. We thank you so much. Please add us on YouTube and in our Twitter handle, and we do have a Dat Sports Atlanta page on Facebook as well.
Yep.
So until next time, peace up, A-Town down.
A-Town down.